What does the Netflix series Wednesday, Batman, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and Beetlejuice all have in common? They all involve a man whose hard work and dedication has changed the face of cinema since the 80s. He was born Timothy Walter Burton in Burbank, California, and being not very social as a child, he used his imagination to keep from being bored. Early in life, he found his creative direction and started to favor a certain aspect of the visual media: the dark and spooky. His first artistic recognition came from a contest for a waste company's anti-litter campaign, in which his poster would win and be featured on all the garbage trucks for a year. Tim would go on to attend the California Institute of Arts, and after which he would work for Disney on films such as The Fox and the Hound, Tron, Black Cauldron, as well as his first short film titled Vincent. It was here during this time that he would write the poem that would eventually become A Nightmare Before Christmas. More on that later. His first live-action film, Frankenweenie, debuted in 1984. Disney would deem the film too dark for children, and they would fire Burton under this pretext. It was because of this film that Paul Rubin, the actor who played Pee Wee Herman, would ask Burton to direct Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It was in 1988 that Burton's Beetlejuice was released. This was the first time he worked with Michael Keaton, with the 1988 film Batman being the second. Both films still remain a favorite of longtime moviegoers. In 1989, Burton would marry Lena Giesecke. It was after this that Burton was given freedom, and the result would be Edward Scissorhands, starring Johnny Depp, in 1990. Batman Returns was released in 1992, and this was the first time that one of his big film projects did not excel. Grossing over $282 million worldwide, it was a financial success, though less so than its predecessor. Because of the restraints on time while directing Batman Returns and his divorce to Lena, it was Henry Selick who would direct A Nightmare Before Christmas, with Burton producing the film. Production began in 1991, with the film releasing in 1993. In 1994, Burton would once again work with Johnny Depp on the film Ed Wood. At the time, it was liked by critics, but there was a lack of audiences at the box office. It is now considered a cult film with a large following. The same would go for Mars Attacks and James and the Giant Peach, both released in 1996. In 1999, Sleepy Hollow would be released, and it featured Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci, who was cast in the 90s film The Addams Family as Wednesday Addams. The film was based on the haunting tale of the Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow, often told around Halloween. It turned a profit and was considered a success, renewing interest from the studio in Tim's director work. The Planet of the Apes reboot would come out in 2001, and this is where Tim met Helena Bonham Carter. In 2003, Tim would father his first child, William, and also direct the film Big Fish, starring Ewan McGregor. Some fans were not pleased with the new direction, but the film was liked by critics. Johnny Depp would work with Burton for a third time in 2005, starring in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The film would reach cult classic status. Also in 2005, Johnny Depp would work with him on The Corpse Bride, a film that looked a lot like Nightmare Before Christmas. Helena would also do voice acting this time around. In 2007, Nell would be born, and Tim would work on Sweeney Todd with Johnny Depp. Helena was also featured in this film too. 2010 would see Tim, Johnny, and Helena working together on Alice in Wonderland. It was probably the most recognizable Tim Burton style film since The Corpse Bride. In 2012, Tim would go on to reboot the famous series Dark Shadows in a film which also had Johnny Depp as a vampire. It was also in 2012 that his film Frankenweenie would get a retelling, becoming an animated film with voice acting from Winona Ryder, who had worked with Tim on Beetlejuice. Tim and Helena split in 2014, and Tim would release Big Eyes, a film about the painter Margaret King, and after he did a short, The Island of Dr. Agor, which was an adaptation of the classic H.G. Wells story, The Island of Dr. Moreau. Finally, in 2016, he returned to direct a big-budget film, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Tim worked on Dumbo in 2019, in which he would work with Michael Keaton. Many fans and critics panned the film, and its profits weren't exceptionally good. This brings us to 2022, in which he would work once again with Christina Ricci on the hit Netflix series Wednesday, where he is credited as a director and executive producer.